Good morning, entrepreneurs. Welcome to the helm, where you get to the next level with a hand-picked advisory board and a group of entrepreneurs throughout our community. Today we are joined by Gret Glyer. Gret, amazing to have you with us. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. So, Gret, before you share what it is you're doing, I'll say a few words about why I think it's so incredible. You have an app you've developed that lets us see around the world to people in need of aid, whether they're starving, injured, whatever the case may be. And we can give aid directly to them, then shortly after typically see a video or photos that let us see the impact we've had on them. And what's so incredible to me about this is you're entering a space of giving aid to those in need, something today largely handled through government programs, taxes, something that's become very depersonalized and in many ways not so efficient. Yet, this is something that used to be very personal to us and very efficient. So when I was growing up, my grandparents lived in the tenements, the poor Lower East Side of Manhattan, and they would see homeless people in their neighborhood, invite them up to their apartment. They'd feed them, they'd give them a place to stay, and today if you did this, you would be institutionalized. I mean, they're literally, if you go around the US, truly 100 cities or so, give or take, where there are laws on the books that say if you give food to a homeless person, you will get arrested. Right? So what's gone on basically is you've had this crowding out, this removal of the opportunity to give private charity. One of the many problems with that is that when you take a look at the dollar you send to Washington, 70 cents of that goes to transfer costs, basically to rent, to salaries, to administrivia. And you, with your app, you're basically bringing us back to the past, to this deeply personal, very efficient experience, bypassing all of that inefficiency, administrivia, bureaucracy. So tell us, if you would, what have you created? Give us a sense for the platform you've built here.
Sure. I love what you just said about how taking it back to the past, because we can get into this, but I spent 3 years living in Malawi, and in that country, the government is not as involved, it's not as big and bureaucratic and oversightful. And because of that, I was able to give personally to the people I interact with on a daily basis, and I love that. And that is a big heart for why I started DonorSee. So DonorSee, DonorSee is a web platform and a mobile app platform that helps donors see exactly where their money goes. So, and you can do this anywhere in the world. We're in 40 countries. So let's say there's a girl in India who has hearing problems and she needs a bone conductor hearing aid. It costs about $150. Someone in the States can donate to that girl, and a week later they'll get a video of that girl hearing for the first time. And we also we do this with hearing aids, widows who need houses. A lot of people don't know this. In fact, Josh, why don't I ask you, how much do you think it costs to build a house in Malawi, the country I lived in for 3 years?
I have a little bit of a vantage point since I've been on your app, but let's just throw out a guess. Let's say $1,500.
Okay, so yeah, when I was doing some research, I had some. I was kind of maybe $1,500. It's going to be a little bit different than it is in the States for sure. Anyways, you can build a nice house, like a luxury house in one of these villages for about $800. $800. Those are the nice ones, the ones with the tin roof and the cement floors and all that stuff. So you can donate money to build a house. And the other thing that we are starting to get into now is the disaster relief stuff. If there's this morning I woke up and I saw that there's a flood, there's a really big flood in Malawi actually, and there's pictures of helicopters going to go pick people out of the rivers as the dirty water is rushing by. And we want to get more involved in that space as well. So back when Hurricane Matthew hit Haiti, we were one of the first people to respond. So we're all over the planet doing a whole bunch of different stuff.
So a tin roof, a cement floor, not exactly what one conjures up when we think of a luxury home. You're dealing with an entirely different stratosphere of life here. How did you get into this section of the world? Tell us a bit about the backstory. How did it all start?
Sure. So I'm 26 right now, and I graduated from college 4.5 years ago. And immediately I started working a 9-to-5 job. I was working for Enterprise on their management track, and I didn't like it a whole lot, but I was learning a lot. So I spent a year doing that, and after a year, I knew this is not going to work out long term. I don't want to spend the rest of my life renting cars to people. So I started looking at different opportunities, and I found the option to go to Malawi and teach math there for a year. That was this opportunity fell in my lap, and I'd been looking for something for a while, and so I just within a month I found out about the opportunity at a wedding, June 2013, and a month later, August 2013, quit my job, got my shots, got my malaria medicine, packed my bags, went to Malawi, and lived there for a year. And and that was like how I first got over there and how I first got exposed to the culture over there. And then as time went on, I stopped teaching and I started doing poverty alleviation work. And I don't know if you know this. So in 2 years ago, Malawi was the poorest country on the planet, and every year it kind of like fluctuates between like the poorest and like the third poorest. You know, it's in the bottom, like the bottom 3% of countries on the planet. So I was really exposed to this like other side of the world, and one of the things that was mind blowing was realizing it's not like we're on one side of the world and then there's a few people who live in poverty on the other side of the world, and they live in like these remote areas, and there's just like a handful of them. The reality that began to sink in over time was 50% of the world, 50% of the humans on Earth live on $1 or $2 a day, like extreme poverty, no electricity, no water, no internet, none of that stuff. So as this reality began to sink in, and as I realized, like, wait a second, no one knows about this, no one thinks about this stuff. I really wanted to bring some of that to the American conscience. It's something I really became passionate about. So that was another big motivation for DonorSee.
Now, we've got the Peace Corps, obviously an organization, a government-run organization that's largely dedicated to helping those in need. Tell us a bit about your experience and how this contrasts with what the Peace Corps set up. Right.
So the Peace Corps, was set up with good intentions. Most charities are set up with like really good intentions, and the issue is that as they get bigger, those intentions become harder to reinforce. So at the beginning, it's like, all right, let's get some people out there, let's have them do some good, let's do some sustainable development, and the motivations are there. But then once the organization starts doing a few million in revenue or starts having like a few thousand people under their jurisdiction, it becomes really hard to properly regulate everything. So the bigger these organizations get, the more bloated they get, the more wasteful, and unfortunately, the more fraudulent. And I say this as someone who lived in a third world country for 3 years, and I saw what charities were doing in these third world countries, and they're just not doing a good job. And there's no accountability because donors give them money, and they spend the money over there wastefully often, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. And then they report back to the donors, hey, we affected 10,000 lives. And you just have to take their word for it. It's like if I went to the grocery store and I had to pick out a bunch of apples and bananas, but I had a blindfold on the whole time. And then I get home and they're actually rotten. It's really, there wasn't a good system for that. So what I liked about the way I created DonorSee was I tried to flip it on its head so that there was as much transparency as possible. And so we used a very similar model to any sharing economy app, YouTube, Uber, Airbnb, anything like that. So the more people you get involved in the app, the better it gets. So like with Uber, the more drivers you get, the faster the rides are, the more people are going to want rides, and it creates this vortex of improvement. And so DonorSee was designed very similarly. The more people we have entering the ecosystem of this space, the more donors are excited to give, and the more compelling projects get posted on the app.
Look, this stuff resonates in such a real, raw way. Earlier this week, I was with my kids. I was with my son. We were looking through DonorSee, and it was the first time I was going through with him. I was reading a description to him and literally couldn't even read it. Midway through the second sentence, I got so choked up. I just handed him the phone, and he had to read it. It's incredibly powerful how you're disrupting this whole system. Tell us, if you would, a bit about what it is that makes this so disruptive beyond, I guess the high level of you're bringing people more into contact. How are you disrupting this world of giving aid to those in need?
I think it's what you're talking about. The idea that the rest of the world has been very removed from us. Like, we all live in a pretty thick bubble that we're not exposed to what other people live like. I don't think that's an intentional thing. I think that's just something that's naturally happened. And we're seeing this a lot in politics right now. I don't want to get into sides or anything like that. But for the first time on Facebook, people are seeing what other people think in the same country as them, and it's blowing their minds on both sides. Like, I think conservatives and liberals are both seeing what the other side thinks, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with this, and it's scary, and it's disruptive. And so I would like to see some of the same uncomfortableness happen with, wait a second, there's not only issues going on here in America, there's like really big issues. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people who don't have clean water, right? Everyone in America can walk to a faucet and get a glass of water and drink it. And everyone in America can go turn the lights on in their room, and most people can go to the local Starbucks and get internet access. These are things that we take for granted. Most of us can dial a 3-digit number on our phone, and a guy will come save us from whatever situation we're in. These are things that are just natural to us. It's the water that we live in. But then that's not the reality for like billions of people on the planet, and people don't realize that. So I think when people go on the app and they see the things that are going on in the rest of the world, it's like this. Your world gets almost flipped upside down. All of the stuff that you take for granted all of a sudden becomes a lot more precious. The roof over your head. We talk about that tin roof. Most people have this grass thatch roof in these sub-Saharan African countries, and when it rains, they have like a little garbage, like a black garbage bag tarp underneath it. But every once in a while, that gets soaked in, and everyone's clothes get wet, the food gets wet. I mean, we live in a very different bubble than most of the rest of the world.
That resonates as well. I think every entrepreneur appreciates on some level we're all in some bubble. And yet we all want to innovate and get outside of that. Business is the business of innovation. We all need to be generating new ideas, new products, new services, something new. What challenges have you faced as you're setting about innovating and disrupting this marketplace?
Yeah, it's like every day there's like a new thing, and I'm sure all the entrepreneurs who are watching this understand the concept of like the wave of like you have these high highs and then these low lows, and over time you just have to learn to weather that really well. So I think I'm starting to get to that point where I can have a really high high and also expect, okay, something bad is going to happen, and when that happens, I'm also going to rebound from that, and this is the cycle of things.
I heard something about the Peace Corps and how they're inhibiting adoption of your product, yet they share the mission, it would seem. Right. Say a little bit about that dynamic, if you would.
Sure. So that's the most recent issue that we've come up with, the most recent big issue. And what happened was we spent about a month. Our team, what we do is there's different organizations working around the world who have like either missionaries or aid workers or something like that living in these different countries. So we work with this one organization called the World Grace. And they're in like 50 different countries. They've got 1,000 people out in these countries. And we have their people use the app, and we have a very good relationship with them. So we were looking at doing something similar with the Peace Corps. We reached out to them. We asked them to, if they have 7,000 Peace Corps workers, they're perfect for using our app. So like the example would be 2 weeks ago, there was this girl crossing a river, and she didn't realize there was a crocodile in it, and the crocodile came up and bit her in the chest. And these guys who were working nearby, they ran over, they wrestled the crocodile away from the girl, and they brought the girl back on the land, and the crocodile swam off. And this girl, she's like a 7-year-old girl. She's got wounds, gashes all up and down her body. You can see this there's pictures of it on DonorSee if anyone wanted to go look that up. And there was a local aid worker nearby named Nicole who took her picture and said, "Hey, this girl needs $100 so she can get treated at a local professional clinic." So the money came and quickly got to her, saved her life. And if it hadn't been for Nicole and her DonorSee app, she would have probably gone to the witch doctor and maybe died later that day. Who knows exactly what would have happened, but the consequences would have been severe no matter what. So that story, for some reason, the Peace Corps has decided that instead of allowing their Peace Corps workers to use DonorSee and allowing us to work with them, they've actually banned all of their Peace Corps workers from using DonorSee. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why that might be the case, but essentially the 7,000 Peace Corps workers are now not allowed to use our app. So that's the biggest, the most recent big hurdle.
We have a couple of team members who worked in the Peace Corps, so perhaps they can help look into that afterward. We'll check out offline on that.
Sure.
Say a bit to me, if you would, about what learnings you can share with others who are looking to disrupt, perhaps specifically in the app space, because what you've done is obviously optically all there in an app. And so many people are looking to transition more and more into software and apps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that one of the books that really, there were a few books that really kind of helped me formulate exactly what my business is. So one of those things is you just kind of keep asking why. So I remember when I initially had the idea, that light bulb moment when it all came rushing in. I was talking to someone on the phone, and I said, I think I might start a tech company someday. I would like to do that. And they asked, well, tell me what you mean by that. And I said, I think I want to start the Uber for charities. And then they asked, and then it was like when I said that, everything just came into my brain, and I got off the phone, I wrote everything down. And some of the resources that helped me formulate that, I would say would be 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. The idea of you're not trying to take a product that's good and make it 10% better, because people that won't create a high adoption rate. You want to take something and make it 10 times better. So you see that with Elon Musk and the Hyperloop, like trying to make transportation like literally 10 times as fast as what's available right now. And with DonorSee, I'm trying to do the exact same thing. Get aid. Like right now, whenever you give money through a charity, it doesn't get there. And if it does, you get 10% of it gets there. And then you don't get any feedback on where the money went. So I wanted to create like a system that was so much better that it was obvious the first time you used it. And that's one of the things that we're seeing when we do it. So yeah, the advice that sticks with me is always be 10 times better, not 10% better, not 15%. Like you got to be 10 times better than what's out there right now.
Let's dig a little deeper into the making of this app. Take us in from the beginning. What was the experience of building this app like?
Sure. So I've never written a line of code in my life, and even still till today. So when I came up with the idea, I had a few friends in the tech space, and I said, "This is my idea. What do you think?" And some of them were excited, some of them didn't quite understand it, and that's totally understandable. Like I'm the one with the vision. I'm the one who has everything in my head. Also, I'm the one who lived abroad for 3 years. Like I come from a different context than someone who's been in the tech space. But what they were able to do is they were able to give me the steps necessary to get from where I was to where I am right now. And so on a very gritty level, this is exactly what I did. So first I used a mock-up tool called Balsamic, and that helped me create the screens for the app. I went to 99 Designs, and I got designers to make compelling, good-looking screens based on the mock-ups I made. And then I took those screens and went to Upwork, and I hired some developers, and I made a prototype version. And that cost about $7,000. I was a guy living in Malawi, Africa. $7,000 is like my life savings. So I made this prototype. It wasn't very good. It was glitchy. You could only use PayPal, no credit card. And but it was functional, and I could take that to investors. And so I went to the investors and I said, I need some money to make this an actual thing. And so they believed in the vision. They believed in me. They saw my past track record of success, and they gave me the seed capital I needed to get the thing kicked off. So we launched like September 26th, a little over 4 months ago.
So exciting, so exciting. If there's any way Helm and the community can be a part and contribute to this, I would extend whatever charity we can give as a community and say, join one of the groups, because it would be amazing to have you contribute to the group, but also get from one of the groups in our software community. I love what you're up to. It's amazing to have your insight, your experience, the great work you're doing shared now with our community of entrepreneurs. And I really hope our community can help you out, whether it's charitable givers or just through connections one-on-one when people perhaps look to connect offline. How amazing to have had this opportunity to connect with you. Thank you for joining us, Gret.
Yeah, thanks for having me.